In this video today, I would like to just talk about what Family Tree is so we have an understanding of that. So if you go to FamilySearch.org, this is their main page. It has so much to offer us in this website, but today we're just going to be focusing on the tree itself. If I hover over Tree or Family Tree and then go click on Tree, it will bring me to this page right here, and I previously opened up this tab just for the sake of time. I'm now able to see a display of my ancestors. And the question is how did all these names get here? So when you first come in here, you're going to be adding your name. If you're married, your spouse. You can then add your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors, and so forth. Some of us are lucky enough that not only when I add my name and then I add my parents and a grandparent and then I start working with someone who has passed away, instantly, all of a sudden, hundreds of ancestors have been added to my line, and I didn't even have to do anything, and I'll explain that in a minute of why that happens. Others of us literally have to add in ourselves one by one. I'm going to try to explain this as simple as I possibly can. This website is owned by the LDS Church, and in the early years of the church, they asked their members to submit their first 4 generations of ancestors. They've been doing this for over 100 years now, and as people did that, if you had someone in Utah submit their first 4 generation, and then they had a sibling in California and another sibling in Idaho, and they were all submitting their 4 generations of ancestors, you can see how instantly that work actually got duplicated. But they turned all of this in, and it got put eventually onto computers, and so it created this wonderful tree for us. But we need to understand, of course, that's how the names got here, is because of people submitting their ancestors' names, but it also created duplicates inside the system also. So sometimes you may run into a situation where you find, like here we have George W. Higginbotham, and every one of these people has their own personal detail page, or it's called a record. And it's just all about them and their family members. But sometimes you'll find, like George may have 5 different records that represent him because of those many wonderful obedient people that submitted their first 4 generations of people, or even more than their first 4 generations. It sometimes created duplicates. And so the beauty of this is we are all now working in a worldwide tree together. And so I may be working on this particular line that I call mine, but somebody else who is also related to me will be working on this exact same line. This website was created in such a way that they wanted us working on the same line so that we would learn to collaborate with each other to be able to enter in the most accurate information on every person in this tree that we possibly can. So it's actually really quite an amazing project that we have in front of us, and we need to take it on with some great responsibility, and it's a lot of fun. Let me just start explaining from the very beginning what I do to make this happen. So here are my ancestors, and my job is now to connect these generations of people, their family members, and even the information I add on them, and be as accurate as I possibly can with the sources I find on them. So for every one of these ancestors, my goal is to go out and find sources on them, and those sources are documents that we call birth and death records, marriage records, military records, censuses. The list can go on and on with these different documents that we can find. But we look at those, we analyze them, and we take that information and we put in our ancestors, we add in the births that we find from those sources, the deaths, their wives, their children, and so forth, and then we connect them to their parents, and then we connect them to their grandparents, all with these sources. That way, when you come into Family Tree and you see this whole display of names, you can be very confident that they really are your ancestors because you've gone through and you've sourced all of them. And you can keep sourcing them as far back as you can find documents on them. Let me just end this video by emphasizing that this is a worldwide tree where we have the privilege of collaborating with each other to obtain the most accurate information we possibly can on each one of these ancestors that are submitted to this tree. Not only will you be adding information on these ancestors, but you may even just be cleaning up at the same time. Like when you see those duplicates on your ancestors, you may need to merge those different duplicates together, and you may need to clean up the births and the deaths. And so not only are we adding family, but we're also cleaning them up as we go. but we're all doing it together, and what a blast this really is. I want you to be aware of the fact that I've created other videos that will help you be able to just dive right into this tree and start working in it with confidence. Have fun getting to know your ancestors.